Okay, so today I will be discussing about the some question bank I have given. It is not exhaustive, but you can concentrate on this particular area and you can learn. Okay, and especially in MCQ, multiple choice questions, you have to read the textbook. Okay, because MCQ testing is difficult, so you have to be very thorough with all the material that is given to you. So the first question is why self-compacting concrete is preferred in high-rise buildings. So you know what the reason for that, you have to write the exact reason. Why? So what is the nature of self-compacting concrete? Because it is self-sufficient to spread the concrete. There is no need of an external vibration there. So because of the height of the building, it is difficult to pump. Okay. So the pumping should be easy. So it has to be vibrated on its own. So all these reasons you have to write exactly with the valid points. Okay. Explain impact load, construction load and sequential loading in the design of high-rise building. What is impact load? Why it is important? What is a construction load? Construction load comes through what? Okay, because maybe when the erection of slab or when the concreting is pouring or the climbing crane, all these things becomes the construction load and sequential loading in the high-rise building. What are the design processes involved in tall structures? Okay. So the design processes are you have your working stress limit state, then your material selection. All the process I have already explained to you. What is the design process involved in tall structures? Name the commonly used materials in the construction of tall structures. Which are the commonly used material? All your materials like cement, concrete, this is admixtures. Then sometimes you have your nanomaterials or all your superplasticizer. Okay, or the glass, then cladding materials. So all these materials which are commonly used in the construction of tall structures can be mentioned there. How the ultimate load method of design is different from the limit state method of design. So in the design philosophy, I have explained what is how the evolution of from the working stress method to the limit state method has arrived. So ultimate load method I have mentioned there. So there are some disadvantage of that. Why we were unable to use the ultimate load method. So then from there, how would we have arrived into the limit state method of design? What are the important aspects in shear wall design? Okay. So when we design a shear wall, so for this I think you can refer your IS 1A, oh, not 18, not 18. It is IS 13920. Okay, you can refer the IS code of 13920. There the shear wall design is mentioned there. So shear wall design, mainly the reinforcement, the dimensions, then the what is that? The connecting beam. If it is a coupled shear wall, the link beam has to be taken into consideration. Mainly the diameters of the reinforcement, the longitudinal, the diagonal reinforcement. All these are the important aspects in shear wall design. Okay, you can just refer the IS 13920. There the shear wall design aspect is given there. So there you will be getting the important aspects in shear wall design. Mainly the important aspect is mainly the dimensions. Okay, the dimensions that we are using, then the material that we are using, then the reinforcement, Okay, what are the dimensions of the bar that has to be used for the main reinforcement as well as for the diagonal reinforcement? All this important in the design. Then the load that is coming over the shear wall. What is the role of stiffness of members in stability of structures? Why instability of structures? I was talking about the stiffness. Okay. So why stiffness of the member? Why? Because the stiffness of the member mainly depends upon the cross section and the height or the length of the member. Okay. So as the length increases, how the stiffness is affected? Because the stiffness may be 6 EI by L square or 12 EI by L cube. Okay. So as the length increases, the stiffness reduces. So how it will affect the stability? So that correlation has to be done. It is all I have given in my material as well as the textbook I have it is mentioned there. the role of stiffness in stability of structures. Okay, so the stiffness has to be how it affects the stability of structures. Define creep and shrinkage. So there I have mentioned creep and shrinkage are the long-term effects of the structures. The common deflection, the rotations are all the short term. When the load is applied, immediately the member may be subjected to either a rotation or a deflection. But then after a long run of the building, okay, once the life of the building starts increasing, then the creep and shrinkage may be due to the temperature effect, or maybe due to the ingress of moisture into it, or maybe due to some external climate changes, then maybe due to the deterioration of reinforcement. So all these are reasons for creep and shrinkage. Creep is nothing but the long-term deflection. Okay, shrinkage is nothing but the shrinkage that is happening. The material may have a shrinkage. So all these are mainly due to the temperature effect and all the other external or the internal, the material behavior. Okay, so that is exactly creep and shrinkage. So we can find out the creep and shrinkage, and we can define that creep and shrinkage. What is a coupled shear wall? It's shear wall. Okay. A coupled shear wall. Coupled shear wall is nothing but a shear, the two shear walls connected together with a link beam. Okay, with a connecting beam. This is called a coupled shear wall. A single shear wall, then another shear wall, then these two are connected with a connecting beam is called a coupled shear wall. What are the factors affecting the growth, height, and structural form of a tall building? The initial first unit I have explained. What are the factors which affect because the material, the first unit I have explained that. Okay, what are all the factors which affect the structural form? How do we select the structural form? Okay, maybe the functionality of the building, maybe the necessity of that building, what is the purpose of that building, or maybe the location where it is, or maybe due to the which the your routing services, your plumbing services, electrical services, depending upon mainly the purpose, that is the main factor, or maybe due to the location, the size, the height, and the purpose, all these things, the factors which affect the height and structural form of mainly the structural form. How do we select the structural form of a tall building? What are the evaluation criteria for a structural system? Same thing, almost similar. Okay, how do we select? How do we evaluate the structural system? Which structural system has to be selected? Okay, based on what? So maybe if it is for up to the 25-story building, you can go for a rigid structure, rigid frame. If it is above that, you can go for a braced frame. Then as the height increases, you can go for a shear wall or maybe a tubular structure, depending upon the usage of the structure and depending upon the location. The structural systems can be evaluated or it can be selected. When we call a building a tall building, I told you it may be the common perspective of the common people, or maybe the height of the building when it affects the due to the lateral loading. If it affects the structure, then it is called it as a tall structure. If the height increases or depending upon the height, when the height will affect the lateral load will affect the height, okay, of the building, then we call it as a tall structure. What is meant by lateral drift and story drift in a tall building? Lateral drift may be the total displacement at the top of the story. Story drift is the relative displacement between the each stories. So that is called story drift. What do you understand by P delta effects in tall buildings? P delta effect I was explaining you because of this is the effect because of the gravity load and the lateral load together when it is acting on a structure. Because of the lateral load, the structure will have a deflection and there will be some displacement. And when there is the deflected form of the structure, when the gravity load is also acting, the moment that is caused between the gravity load and the displacement, that is P into delta, will be acting at each story. So there will be a story displacement. So that displacement will be multiplied with the gravity load, because the structure from the original shape, it has deflected, but the gravity load is already acting on the original structure. So from the gravity load, how much displacement it has happened at each story, the cumulative effect of the moment will be added at the end, at the bottom of the structure. So that is the meaning of P delta effect. Define magnitude and intensity of earthquake. That you can refer your IS 1893. You can refer the IS 1893, and you can define what is the magnitude of the earthquake. Magnitude of the earthquake is the quantitative measure of the earthquake, and intensity of earthquake is the qualitative measure of the earthquake. Okay. The exact definition you can give it from the IS code. Mention the difference between impact load and construction load. What are the modes of failure of infilled frames? Infilled frame, different modes of failure I have explained. The infill frame, you can have failure in the infill as well as in the frame. Both is possible. The infill in the frame, you can have your crushing failure, diagonal failure, or shear failure, it can happen. And in the frame, you can have shear cracks or tensile cracks. So that I have explained you with the figures. Whenever you explain something, if it is possible, it is better to draw the diagram and explain that. Okay, wherever possible, you can draw the diagram and explain. What are the various types of shear wall? So I just told you there are mainly two types. One is a cantilever shear wall. Other one is a squat, SQUATT, squat shear wall. Okay, it depends upon the aspect ratio between the height and width of the shear wall. It is classified as cantilever shear wall and squat shear wall. What is meant by out of plumb effect? Out of plumb effect is nothing but the misalignment of the verticality. The verticality, if there is a misalignment, then there will be an out of plumb effect. Because of the out of plumb effect, you will have your P delta. It is actually the second order effect of a P delta effect. Okay, this out of plumb effect is also a second order effect of P delta. So when there is a misalignment, then the load transfer will become a problem. Okay, so at each story level, there will be a the load transfer will not be of correct path. Finally, there will be some overturning of the structure can happen. So the out of plumb effect is also I have explained there. How do you ensure the stability of structures? So the stability of structures for ensuring, you need to ensure the P delta effect, the stiffness, the out of plumb, then the translation instability, and there are many reasons I have given there. So if all these things are satisfied, then the stability of the structure is ensured. Okay. So then this is little more elaborate descriptive type of questions. Describe the production, properties and application of self-compacting concrete. Write short notes on fiber, because all these are the one that you have taken seminar. Each one of you have taken a seminar. So the material is also given there. You can refer that and you can make a short note of all these things. Okay. Explain the difference between static method and dynamic method of analysis. Static method and dynamic method of analysis, if it is generally asked, there are two methods are there. One is for earthquake and another is for wind. Okay, for both you should know. For wind, earthquake, you can refer IS 1893, and for wind you can refer IS 875 part 2. Okay, IS 1893 and IS 875 part 2 you can refer for the static and dynamic analysis of method of analysis of structures for earthquake as well as wind. Okay, in earthquake we have response spectrum method, and for static method. For dynamic method, you have time history method as well as response spectrum method is also there with all the mode superpositions and all. Whereas for wind load, you have your static method and dynamic method. It is mentioned differently. If you use for wind analysis, you have your how to calculate the wind force. Wind force. Okay. First initially you will be calculating maybe K1, K2, K3. K4, you will be finding out the design wind speed. From there, you will find out the design wind pressure. From the design wind pressure, we can calculate the load. F is equal to, it is given there, CPE minus CPI into A into PZ. where CPE and CPI are the pressure coefficients, external pressure coefficient and internal pressure coefficient. Then the area, then multiplied by the design wind pressure. That way you can do the static analysis. Whenever you come to the wind dynamic analysis for wind, in addition to this term, there will be another factor called gust factor. Gust factor, G-U-S-T. A gust factor is there that has to be multiplied. In IS 875, it is separately, it is explained how to do the wind analysis. Okay. Describe the types, properties and application of fiber reinforced concrete. What are the types of special concrete used for tall buildings? Explain any two type. Okay, special concrete can be anything with respect to the your self-compacting concrete or your lightweight concrete or fiber reinforced concrete, all with the, these are all the special concrete, high performance concrete. Discuss on wind tunnel experiment methods. So wind tunnel experiment, wind tunnel analysis is done mainly to find out the pressure coefficients for any structure. So you may have to draw the wind tunnel and explain the wind tunnel experiment, how the wind tunnel experiments are done. Okay, so that is, we can explain it. Explain the step-by-step procedure for analysis of a frame by response spectrum method. That's what I was telling you. You can refer your IS 1893. Describe the behavior of infilled frames and shear walls in tall buildings. So the behavior, the performance of infilled frames, I have explained to you separately. Shear wall behavior, it is explained separately. So we can differentiate between this infill frame and shear walls. The behavior, the performance, the failure, all these parameters can be explained in this question. How the behavior of shear wall structure differ from braced frame structures. So you can write down the performance of braced frame, or how it will perform during lateral load. When there is a lateral load coming, braced frame, you have a single bracing is there, double bracing is there. So when there is a single bracing, how it will deflect. When there is a deflection, what will be happening, whether the braces will have a tensile force or a compressive force. Okay, and you will have windward columns and leeward columns are there. When there is a deflection happening, what will happen to the, what type of forces are acting at the windward columns and the leeward columns. Okay. All these things I have explained you. You can read the material that I have given, my class note, as well as the textbook you can refer. Okay. How tall buildings are modeled for approximate and accurate analysis. Also discuss the reduction techniques. So one particular chapter 3 itself, I was explaining about the approximate and accurate analysis. How the approximate analysis is done. It is assumed as a single cantilever and you do the approximate analysis. But when you are doing an accurate analysis, you have to do a multiple analysis, or you have to do a finite element analysis, and some reduction techniques also I have mentioned there. Okay. Some reduction techniques, because the floor slab can be assumed to be rigid and the moment of inertia can be reduced, and some materials, the Obe's Hooke's law, there are some assumptions are also there, and some reduction techniques also I have explained, because you don't have to consider the live load throughout. Okay, we can reduce the live load from the from upper story to the lower stories. So all these reduction techniques also I have explained there. So this is actually, this is from your, I think, module 3. Okay, from your module 3 you can prepare a material. Okay, then this is the calculation of stiffness. This is what I was explaining, and I have done one problem in the class note. You can refer that. How to calculate the lateral stiffness of a shear wall if it is rigidly held at the base and if it is supported with a footing. How to calculate the stiffness of the shear wall. Okay. Discuss creep, shrinkage and temperature effect of tall buildings. Explain P delta analysis, and you can make a short note on the stability analysis of all. Torsional instability, out of club effect, effect of stiffness, and effect of foundation rotation. So these are some of the major, it covers the entire syllabus. some major. From this, I have selected some questions and I have given you as an assignment. Okay. So please go through that and write the assignment. Okay. So did you get an idea? What are all the things to be learned in tall structures? Tell me. Please give me a feedback. Hello.
Ma'am.
Did you hear what I was explaining till now?
Yes, ma'am.
Others, please. Yes, Kritika, Kaviyarasu.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I was going on telling I didn't get any feedback. So next week I will be conducting a small test also for you. So today,
When, ma'am?
not next week, this week, sorry, this Friday. Anyway, before Friday, I'll see if any time is there, I can conduct a small test for you, just half an hour test. Okay. Because you should be familiar with the MCQ test, isn't it? I'll try to put some 10 questions for you in MCQ so that you can
Okay, ma'am.
get a practice for that MCQ also. Today, Thamare Selvan is ready with the nanomaterial concrete. Thamare Selvan. Thamare Selvan is here. Is on. Okay. So any other clarification you have? Do you have any doubt? Or any portion?
Ma'am, we didn't complete the last problem.
Oh, that problem was not completed. Okay. Then wait. Let us do. You can see. Can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is the problem. I think for almost 2 weeks we are continuing. We were unable to complete it. I think you have written the question, isn't it? So this problem is to calculate the lateral stiffness of a shear wall with a point load at the top, assuming the wall is rigid and the wall is supported by an 8 meter by 4 meter footing. Okay. So this is the shear wall in an I-shaped section. The dimensions of the shear wall is given here. So I think I asked you to find out the moment of inertia of the shear wall, isn't it? Did you find out that moment of inertia? What happened? Why there is no answer from anyone? Are you able to hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
And then why are you not responding? Did you calculate the moment of inertia of the shear wall?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you get this answer?
Yes, ma'am.
So once you find out the moment of inertia of the shear wall, then you can calculate the area of the shear wall. Okay, the total area. Total area is this 400 by 400 plus 400 plus 400 plus 400 into 400. Okay, 400 into 400 into 2 plus this area 3600 into 150. Okay, so this is the total area of the shear wall. So once you find out the moment of inertia and area, then the E value is given, Poisson's ratio is given. Okay, so the total stiffness of the shear wall for the first case, when it is rigidly held at the base, it is the summation of delta is equal to delta flexure plus delta shear, the first case. For the first case, the total deflection is equal to deflection due to flexure plus deflection due to shear. Okay, so delta flexure is nothing but WHQ by 3I. The same equation. We have a cantilever subjected to a point load at the top. It is WLQ by 3EI. The same formula. Okay, so here it is W is the load. It is not mentioned given there, so we can put it as W itself. H is the total height of the shear wall. Total height of the shear wall is given as 14 meter. Okay, so 14 meter it is mentioned here, or it is given the diagram that 14 meter height. Okay, 14 meter height of the shear wall. So WHQ by 3EI. I value you found out. E value it's already given 25,000 Newton per meter mm square. So from this you can find out the value of delta flexure. Okay. I think now delta shear is nothing but there's this equation you need to remember. Delta shear is equal to W into H divided by K dash AG, where K dash is the constant of the shape factor. That is, if it's a rectangular, then the shape factor is 0.8. Area already you found out. G is nothing but the rigidity modulus of elasticity. With respect to Young's modulus, it is G is equal to E by 2 into 1 plus mu. So you can calculate the value of G, substitute it here, you will be getting the delta shear. So the total delta will be delta shear plus delta flexure. Delta flexure is 1.92 10 power minus 5 W. Delta shear is 1.94 10 power minus 6 W. When you add these two, you will be getting the total delta for the first case. Okay. So this is the deflection of the shear wall at the top when the wall is rigidly held at the base. Okay, it's like a cantilever. It is held at the base, restrained at the base, and it is free at the top. Now, what is the stiffness? What is the stiffness? Stiffness is equal to W by delta. W by delta. Load by deflection. So W by delta. So your W will get cancelled. Finally, 1 by 2.11 10 power minus 5 will give you the stiffness. Okay. So you can do. I don't think if we start doing, otherwise you have to do it and tell me. The second one I'll explain once again. You can do it later. So the second case, what it is mentioned here, this shear wall is supporting at a foundation with some elastic subgrade reaction. It is like a spring. Okay, the soil is a subgrade. It has a subgrade reaction of 30,000 whatever it is kilonewton per meter cube. Okay, so it has the soil has a subgrade reaction, means it will act as a flexible foundation. Okay, it will be like a flexible foundation. The effect is like a spring. Okay, so here this is the 8 meter by 4 meter footing. So because it is flexible foundation, the foundation will have a rotation. Because of the rotation, there will be another deflection that is happening, that is called delta rocking. Okay, so in addition to the flexure and shear, when this shear wall is resting on a flexible foundation, because of the flexibility or because of the there will be a rotation of the foundation will happen. So because that will, all these are very small value. It is not a big deflection at all. It's very, very small value. Okay, so that deflection is called delta rocking. So that delta rocking you have to find out, and you have to add it along with the flexure and shear. Okay. So here that is how to calculate the delta rocking is explained it here. we will take a small strip here. You take a small strip here, integrate from this -8 to +8. Okay. From here to here, you are taking from 2 times 0 to 4. It is taken as. So you take a small strip of dx at a distance x from the center. So if this theta is a rotation, the small rotation that is happening there in the foundation, then you can calculate the restoring moment over there. The restoring moment is nothing but that K, the subgrade reaction multiplied by the area of the moment you have to take. This is x theta. This is x. The horizontal distance is x. This rotation is theta. So this height is nothing but x times theta. Dx is the small strip width. So x theta into dx will give you the area that you have to take moment about x, this particular point. So x theta into dx into x. Okay. Moment of the area multiplied by the subgrade reaction multiplied by the width of the footing, that you have to integrate it and get the restoring moment. Okay. That restoring moment by the rotation will give you the rocking stiffness. You will be getting the rocking stiffness. So from then this is for the a small strip on the foundation. Now we have to take the entire shear wall structure. Okay. Now you take the shear wall of 14 meter height. So this is the theta rotation at the base. The rotation at the base of the structure theta will be the restoring moment divided by the stiffness. The restoring moment divided by the stiffness. This moment M is nothing but W into 14. That is the W is that horizontal load that is acting over here. 14 meter is the height. This into 1000 and all you leave it. It's not required. Okay. This 1000 you can eliminate it. So this W into 14 is the moment divided by the stiffness. It will give you the rotation at the base. So this rotation you will be getting. Once you get this rotation, this deflection delta is equal to, because this is what it is asked, the deflection due to the rocking of the flexibility of the foundation. So this delta will be 14 times theta. Okay. 14 is the vertical height. This theta is the small rotation that is happening at the base of the structure. This is this, so this horizontal distance, this deflection is 14 times tan theta. Actually tan theta is very small. We can take it as delta theta. Tan theta is equal to theta. So 14 times theta. So delta rocking is nothing but 14,000. You don't have to take 14 itself. 14 into theta, you will be getting the delta rocking. That delta rocking, you add it along with the flexure and shear. That is already in the previous case. You will be getting the total deflection. Okay. So once you get the total deflection, stiffness is nothing but W by delta. You will be getting the stiffness. Okay. So you please go through this. Do it on your own and complete it. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
So today, Javier is Tamare is taking any lecture today? Where is Tamare Selvan? Is he available here? He is here.
He's in the room, ma'am.
Is in the room in class, the college, or
Ma'am, PG. He is in PG, ma'am, paying guest.
Paying guest. He has not come. So just find out whether he is presenting. Then
he will come late, about 10:30 like that.
Okay. So if he comes, then I will schedule a meeting at 11. Okay. You have one more class today, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. Third hour.
So if he is presenting, I'll schedule it. Otherwise, I need not attend this class again. Okay, because you can sit and write. You ask him and find out and tell me. Otherwise, you can utilize this third period for writing your assignment.
Okay, ma'am. I'll inform, ma'am.
You inform.